There's a powerful truth about health that too few talk about. As we age, especially beyond 60, 70, our body begins to respond differently to what we eat. The immune system becomes less flexible. Our mitochondria, the energy factories inside our cells, begin to decline in function. And one of the most dangerous things we can do is ignore how certain foods, once safe or even healthy in moderation, become harmful over time. As we age, our bodies undergo profound internal changes that aren't always visible on the surface but are critical to how we respond to food. A food that once served us well in our 30s or 40s might quietly become problematic in our 60s or 70s. This isn't simply a matter of metabolism slowing down. It's about how the body's regulatory systems gradually lose their precision. One key example of this is the peanut. While often regarded as a convenient, protein-rich snack, peanuts can begin to work against us later in life in subtle but meaningful ways. In older adults, the immune system becomes less adaptive and more prone to chronic, low-grade inflammation, a condition sometimes referred to as inflammaging. This means the immune system is no longer just responding to immediate threats. Instead, stays partially activated in the background, which slowly damages tissues over time. Foods that contribute to this inflammatory burden need to be closely examined, especially those we consume frequently and in large amounts. Peanuts, although popular, are a major source of omega-6 fatty acids, specifically linoleic acid, which can further tip the scale towards systemic inflammation if not properly balanced with omega-3 fats like those found in fish or flax seeds. This imbalance can be particularly dangerous for older adults because inflammation doesn't just cause discomfort or fatigue. It contributes to the development and progression of nearly every major chronic illness. Heart disease, Alzheimer's disease, certain cancers, diabetes, all of these have strong links to unchecked inflammatory processes. If someone over the age of 60 is consuming peanuts regularly and not offsetting that with anti-inflammatory foods, may be accelerating the very conditions they're trying to avoid without even realizing it. Another issue lies in the fact that as we get older, our detoxification pathways, particularly liver function, become less efficient. The body's ability to process and eliminate toxins weakens with age. Peanuts are frequently contaminated, even in small amounts, with aflatoxins, naturally occurring toxins produced by molds during storage. While food safety standards limit exposure, aging livers may not handle even these trace levels as effectively. Over time, this could contribute to oxidative stress or cellular damage that accumulates silently for years before symptoms surface. There's also the question of nutrient bioavailability. In younger bodies, nutrient absorption tends to be more robust, and the gut microbiome more resilient. In older adults, however, the same nutrients may not be absorbed as efficiently, and the gut barrier may become more permeable, allowing unwanted particles like inflammatory proteins or toxins into circulation. Peanuts also contain lectins and phytic acid, both of which can interfere with digestion or nutrient absorption, particularly in sensitive or aging gastrointestinal systems. So, while a handful of peanuts may seem like a harmless snack for someone in their 60s or 70s, it's essential to look deeper. The context of aging physiology transforms that same snack into a potential contributor to inflammation, toxicity, and chronic disease. What once was neutral or even beneficial becomes a subtle stressor. Understanding this shift is key to making smarter dietary choices that align with the body's needs later in life. The balance between omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids is one of the most critical, yet often overlooked aspects of human health, especially in the aging population. Omega-6 fatty acids, such as linoleic acid, are essential in small amounts for proper cellular function, but the modern diet has tipped this balance dramatically out of proportion. In particular, peanuts contain a high concentration of linoleic acid. Regular consumption can gradually drive the body toward a pro-inflammatory state. This is especially concerning for individuals over the age of 60 or 70, when the regulatory systems that manage inflammation start to lose efficiency. In youth, the body is resilient. It can compensate for dietary excesses and imbalances to a significant degree. But with aging, the immune system's response becomes less dynamic. It tends to remain in a low-grade activated state, making it more susceptible to being overwhelmed by even moderate dietary contributors to inflammation. Linoleic acid, when consumed in high quantities and without a proper counterbalance of omega-3s, fuels the production of pro-inflammatory eicosanoids and other mediators. These compounds, once produced, don't simply disappear. In older adults, clearance mechanisms are slower. The effects of these mediators linger, subtly aggravating blood vessels, joints, and even neurons over time. This chronic inflammatory state is not necessarily visible or felt immediately. It often develops silently, presenting later as a degenerative disease. Arteries may stiffen gradually, laying the groundwork for hypertension or heart attacks. Neurons may become more vulnerable to oxidative stress, accelerating cognitive decline. Even the joints, through persistent inflammatory signaling, begin to show signs of wear, leading to discomfort, stiffness, or osteoarthritis. The underlying driver in all of these scenarios may trace back, in part, to something as simple and unrecognized as a disproportionate intake of omega-6 fatty acids. Another layer of concern is that aging cells themselves undergo a transformation. They accumulate damage, lose mitochondrial efficiency, and produce more reactive oxygen species. In this context, excessive omega-6 fatty acids become an accelerant. Instead of nourishing cells, they promote peroxidation and instability in cell membranes, leading to more cell death and greater energy inefficiency. This directly impacts vitality and the ability of older adults to recover from illness, injury, or stress. It's also worth noting that omega-6 are pervasive in the diet. Most vegetable oils, fried foods, and processed snacks are loaded with them. Peanuts, widely consumed and marketed as healthy, often go unnoticed as a significant contributor. When someone in their later decades is eating peanuts regularly, perhaps daily, they may be reinforcing a biochemical environment that promotes disease rather than resilience. Reducing this load while increasing omega-3 rich foods like walnuts, chia seeds, or fatty fish can help restore balance and reduce the risk of inflammatory disorders. The goal in later life is not just to survive, but to thrive with mental clarity, physical mobility, and cellular stability. Managing the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is one of the most actionable and powerful ways to influence this outcome, and peanuts, though small, can play an outsized role in tipping the scales the wrong way. One of the lesser discussed but highly consequential issues with peanuts is the risk of aflatoxin exposure. Aflatoxins are toxic compounds produced by certain molds, particularly Aspergillus flavus and Aspergillus parasiticus, which grow on crops like peanuts when stored in warm, humid conditions. While modern food safety regulations attempt to keep aflatoxin levels within a safe range, the concern becomes more pressing with age. Older adults typically have a decreased capacity to detoxify harmful substances due to the natural decline in liver function and antioxidant defenses. Even low levels of aflatoxins, consumed chronically over the years, may silently contribute to liver stress, DNA damage, and inflammation. The liver plays a central role in neutralizing toxins and metabolizing chemicals, medications, hormones. As the body ages, hepatic enzyme activity slows and regenerative capacity diminishes. This means that what might be a manageable toxin load for a 30-year-old could become a significant burden at 70. When aflatoxins enter the body, the liver works to detoxify them via a series of enzymatic processes. However, if the liver is already coping with multiple stressors, such as medications, alcohol, fatty liver disease, or insulin resistance, the addition of aflatoxin may tip the balance towards cellular injury. Aflatoxins are not just mildly irritating compounds. They are classified as Group 1 carcinogens by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IRC, meaning there is strong evidence that they cause cancer in humans. The most documented effect is as hepatocellular carcinoma or liver cancer. However, chronic low-dose exposure is also linked with immune suppression and poor nutrient absorption. These effects can be especially detrimental to older adults who already face challenges in maintaining muscle mass, immune responsiveness, and nutrient status. Moreover, aflatoxin exposure doesn't always come in obvious ways. It may come through commercially packaged peanut butter, roasted peanuts, or even peanut-based snacks marketed as health foods. Because aflatoxin contamination is uneven and influenced by storage conditions, there is no easy way for consumers to visually detect its presence. The toxin itself is odorless, tasteless, and invisible. It accumulates silently, which makes it especially insidious. Over years or decades of habitual peanut consumption, the liver may accumulate oxidative stress and subtle DNA mutations that gradually erode cellular function and health. For older individuals, especially those already on multiple medications or managing chronic conditions, the addition of another hidden toxin becomes a compounding risk. The question then becomes, is the nutritional value of peanuts worth that long-term hidden exposure? In most cases, the answer leans toward caution. There are safer alternatives that offer similar or better nutritional benefits without the associated risks. Nuts like almonds, pistachios, or walnuts are rarely contaminated with aflatoxins and are more supportive of brain and cardiovascular health in aging populations. Ultimately, the goal is not to create fear around every bite of food, but to bring awareness to how age alters the body's resilience. Recognizing and reducing exposure to aflatoxins, especially from a high-risk food like peanuts, is a small but meaningful step towards supporting long-term liver health and reducing cancer risk in later years. As individuals age, dietary habits often become more routine, and the foods that once felt familiar and comforting may continue to be consumed without much scrutiny. Among these are processed peanut products, which are commonly found in the form of peanut butter, roasted and salted peanuts, or snack bars. While peanuts on their own carry certain risks, these risks are significantly amplified when they are processed, particularly when sugar, salt, and hydrogenated oils are added. These ingredients may seem harmless in small doses, but over time, especially in aging bodies, they can accelerate the development of chronic conditions like hypertension, insulin resistance, and cardiovascular disease. Salt, when added in large quantities, as is common in most commercial peanut products, contributes to elevated blood pressure, particularly in people who are salt sensitive. This sensitivity becomes more pronounced with age, as the kidneys lose some of their ability to excrete excess sodium efficiently. The vascular system also stiffens naturally over time, making it more susceptible to the pressure effects of high sodium intake. The result is an increased strain on the heart and greater risk for stroke, heart failure, and kidney disease. Consuming salted peanuts regularly, especially without counterbalancing hydration or potassium-rich foods, can therefore have far-reaching cardiovascular consequences in later decades. Added sugars are another major concern. Peanut products such as sweetened peanut butter or flavored snacks often contain hidden sugars that can easily be overlooked. In the context of aging, where insulin sensitivity naturally declines, these sugars contribute to the rapid elevation of blood glucose levels. Over time, this can worsen insulin resistance and increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Even in individuals already diagnosed, these hidden sugars can complicate blood sugar management and worsen metabolic health. Hydrogenated oils, or trans fats, sometimes used to extend shelf life and improve texture in processed peanut butters, are among the most harmful ingredients in the modern diet. These fats interfere with the normal function of cell membranes and increase levels of LDL cholesterol while lowering HDL cholesterol, setting the stage for plaque buildup and atherosclerosis. While trans fats have been banned or reduced in many countries, traces may still be present in lower quality or imported products. Their effects are especially concerning in older adults, where vascular resilience is already compromised and the margin for error is reduced. Moreover, many of these processed peanut products are designed for hyperpalatability, encouraging overconsumption. The combination of salt, sugar, and fat triggers reward pathways in the brain, making it easy to eat far more than the body needs or can healthfully process. An older population with slower metabolism and less physical activity, this overconsumption can lead to unwanted weight gain, increased inflammation, and greater overall health burden. The cumulative impact of these additives, when consumed consistently over months or years, can be significant. What appears to be a quick snack or a convenient protein source may in fact be undermining blood pressure control, blood sugar stability, and heart health in older adults. These changes may not present immediate symptoms, but gradually shape the trajectory of aging in a less favorable direction. Replacing these products with whole, minimally processed alternatives can reduce this silent strain on the body and support a healthier, more resilient aging process, the choice of which nuts to consume takes on increased importance with age. While peanuts are often consumed out of habit or convenience, their nutritional profile and associated risks make them less suitable for individuals over the age of 60 or 70. Fortunately, there are superior alternatives. True nuts that offer not only safer nutrient compositions, but also therapeutic benefits that support longevity, cognitive function, cardiovascular health, metabolic stability. Replacing peanuts with options like walnuts, almonds, and macadamia nuts can offer profound health advantages, especially in the context of an aging body with different nutritional and physiological needs. Walnuts, for instance, are one of the richest plant sources of alpha-linolenic acid, ZLI, type of omega-3 fatty acid. While the conversion of ALA to EPA and DHA in the human body is limited, even small contributions from plant-based omega-3s are valuable, especially when the diet lacks oily fish, Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory, and their presence helps counterbalance the pro-inflammatory effects of excess omega-6, which are found abundantly in peanuts. Addition to their fatty acid profile, walnuts contain polyphenols and other antioxidants that protect the brain and vasculature from oxidative stress, both of which are key concerns in aging populations. Almonds offer a different spectrum of benefits. They are particularly high in vitamin E, a fat-soluble antioxidant that supports skin health, cellular integrity, and immune function. With age, natural levels of vitamin E may decline, and oxidative damage accumulates more quickly. Almonds also contribute magnesium and fiber, both of which are essential for blood sugar regulation and cardiovascular health. In older adults, maintaining glycemic control becomes more challenging. Incorporating fiber-rich foods helps slow carbohydrate absorption and improve insulin sensitivity. Macadamia nuts, though higher in fat overall, are predominantly composed of monounsaturated fatty acids, the same type found in olive oil. These fats are well studied for their role in reducing LDL cholesterol and improving endothelial function. Macadamia nuts are also low in carbohydrates and virtually free of antinutrients, making them especially gentle on digestion and well tolerated in individuals with sensitive guts or compromised absorption capacity. Beyond individual nutrients, these nuts offer an overall anti-inflammatory and nutrient-dense profile that supports healthy aging. They are less likely to be contaminated with aflatoxins, less likely to be highly salted or hydrogenated in commercial products, and more aligned with whole food, plant-based dietary patterns that promote long-term health. Their inclusion in the daily diet provides not only essential nutrients but also satiety, which helps prevent overeating and supports weight stability, an often overlooked aspect of metabolic health in the elderly. Making the shift from peanuts to these higher quality nuts is a small but powerful intervention. It's not just about avoiding harm, it's about actively supporting systems that begin to falter with time. The brain, the heart, the immune system, the metabolism all benefit from nutrient-dense, inflammatory foods that nourish rather than burden the body. In that regard, the choice of nuts becomes a daily opportunity to align diet with health span and to build resilience one bite at a time. Aging is a gradual process, but the decisions that shape how we age are made daily. One of the most overlooked aspects of long-term health is the cumulative effect of small dietary choices. These choices, often perceived as insignificant on their own, a handful of this, a bite of that, carry greater weight over time, especially as the body's resilience begins to decline. After the age of 60 or 70, the systems that once compensated for less than ideal habits begin to falter, and the margin for error narrows. At this stage, making thoughtful dietary adjustments can yield significant benefits, not only in extending lifespan, but in preserving the quality of that life. Peanuts, although common in the diet, serve as a clear example of a food that may be best minimized or avoided entirely in later years. They are easy to overconsume, often processed with harmful additives, contain compounds like omega-6 fatty acids and aflatoxins that can exacerbate the inflammatory and oxidative stress burden already present in aging bodies. But the removal of peanuts from the diet is not just an act of subtraction. It opens up the opportunity for more intentional, nutrient-rich foods to take their place. This shift can serve as a catalyst for broader dietary improvements. Replacing peanuts with healthier nuts such as almonds, walnuts, or macadamias is just one part of the larger process of dietary refinement that becomes essential with age. Each time a decision is made to consume a food that supports mitochondrial function, reduces inflammation, or stabilizes blood sugar, the trajectory of aging subtly shifts in a more favorable direction. These changes don't have to be dramatic or disruptive. In fact, the most effective transformations often come from a series of small, consistent adjustments. One of the most encouraging aspects of this process is its accessibility. It doesn't require a major overhaul or a rigid plan, just awareness and consistency. A modest daily handful of anti-inflammatory nuts, a conscious effort to avoid processed snacks, the gradual reduction of pro-inflammatory ingredients. These simple actions compound over months and years to influence how one feels, moves, thinks, and heals. This is the essence of preventive health. It's also important to recognize that the aging body communicates in subtle ways. Fatigue, minor aches, cognitive fog, these are not just symptoms of getting older, they are signals of imbalance, often driven by chronic, low-grade inflammation and oxidative stress. By removing dietary triggers like processed peanuts and replacing them with supportive alternatives, those signals can begin to quiet down. Energy improves, Digestion stabilizes, inflammation subsides, and cognitive clarity sharpens. This is not about fear or perfection. It's about stewardship, understanding that the body, especially in its later decades, responds powerfully to the environment we create for it. Every meal is an opportunity to choose foods that either support or stress the system. In that light, even the smallest dietary decision becomes a powerful tool in the pursuit of vitality, independence, extended health span. And over time, these small choices, when made consistently, can shape the experience of aging in profoundly positive ways.